got a feeling something bad's going on, and I think Lion-O is in the thick of it.
We meet again, Thunder Brat.
Welcome back to the Tiger Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about Super 7 Thundercats, what's coming up. We've got Wave 7, better pictures, and a little bit more details what's going on with Wave 7. We also have update on the Thundertank, where it is, when are we going to get this, well, when is it going to ship, and confirmation of future waves. Well, a couple things that we know are coming in future waves. We'll talk about this and more coming up. Okay, so before I get too deep into talking about what's coming for Super 7 and all that good stuff, I do want to point out that I like what Super 7 has done with this line so far. I think it's an amazing looking display, and I just took this, I should have cleaned it up a bit because I've got Orko in there. I don't know why. I moved him for something else. And so I also have some other stuff, one of the NECA gargoyles in there. So with that though, I do know there are some QC issues that with Wave 2. Randomly, some certain figures have some issues, but for the most part, even with some of the issues, these figures look fantastic, and I love the way they look on display. And even though I didn't put hardly any work into these displays, I'm not sure that's where I want to keep them. One thing I have to say is that they do display well. They look fantastic, and overall, it is a great line of figures. But yes, they are pricey. Yes, there's a few QC issues. That doesn't change the fact that I'm super ultra excited. So first off, I want to talk about Mongor. And the one thing I want to say about this guy is, first off, I think he does look pretty cool. And I think this setup does look the best. But I'm starting to notice this wave, there's going to be a lot of flame effects. And there weren't a lot of flame effects in the past. And I know Chitaro's got one that's not really the greatest. But the way they integrate these flame effects, they look really good. And Mongor does look really good. His side looks really good, and all that kind of stuff. So really a nice looking figure overall. A little slimmer and trimmer than, say, the LJN figure. Here's what all he comes with. He's got a kind of a normal looking head, a crazy wild looking head, 2 extra sets of hands, and then all the flame effects. The horn flames and the flame for his side and all that. Really not a ton of accessories, but he's going to be a pretty decent sized figure overall. $55 price point, of course, as always, and looks good. Great addition for the mutants. Here he is in the packaging, and really I'm not going to show all the packaging because they all look about the same, you know, the packaging setup and all that kind of stuff. And I was a little bit disappointed because this is more or less a package render, and with Linkso I wasn't happy because the accessories didn't truly match the color and all that kind of stuff, so we won't dwell too long on that. Super 7, of course, has had their pluses, their ups, and their minuses. Next, I want to get into Rotaro, and Rotaro is a pretty cool figure. I know that it does look so different than the LGN toy. So as to the animation was much different than the LGN toy, this Rotaro is different than the LGN toy. So he does look pretty good. The really good effective use of the flame and all that kind of stuff, and it does look like his dagger things there. They look a lot like the vintage style one, except an upgrade with multicolor and all that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot of variations to the LJN ones, but this one really doesn't match any of them. Here's what all he comes with, and so you've got those flame effects, and then I guess those are like laser blast kind of effects in there also. 1 extra set of hands and a second face. And so the weird thing about this is the fact that he was supposed to be priced at $65, and that's what everybody was talking about and saying, but he's up on BBTS right now for $55. Brian is saying that he's going to have to be $55 now, and they're going to take some sort of loss on it. Seriously, though, I don't really see how they'd even be taking a loss on it at $55. But he's a chunkier, bigger figure, and so when we get him in hand, he's going to feel chunkier and bigger, sort of like Slithe, I guess, except taller. But again, Slithe was a $44 figure. So we've got better pictures of Snarf, and so this is a big deal that they made a big deal about his tail. And I believe they said there's going to be some adjustability to the tail, but it doesn't look like it to me. But looking at this, it's more of a stand, and you got Snarf with his tail and a stand and all that kind of stuff. So does look pretty good overall. That is definitely a Snarf that you see. And these pictures look better than what they had on display at the last event that we were at. Anyway, it was NYCC. So these do look better. These promo pics do look a lot better, and these are not renders. It's an actual prototype, but I believe these are renders. Who knows? But still, I think it looks good. I think they've really hit the mark on the vast majority of these. So it does look like maybe it's a ball joint or something on that, and then you do have a swappable tail. So he has the other tail that's on him right now, and then the tail stand. He's got a man purse. I wonder about this glove. I wonder on this glove, will this be like similar to the glove that they packed in with Pomera, where you can have a closed fist and slide it over your fist. You don't have to swap hands completely. So I start to wonder about that. And then, of course, he's got the small sword of omens that's not Thundercats Hode yet or whatever. So then it's some extra fists, hands, and a football-looking thing. That's a fruit, actually. That's his fruit. So next we have Willa. And so some people have commented about Willa that there are multiple women in her tribe are there, but she's, of course, the most prominent one. But would we get multiple other ones? Or wouldn't it have been smart to like have just included a different head and call her a different one or something? But still, she looks very good. She looks very animation accurate, and that's a pretty nice looking figure overall. I like the way this looks, so fantastic. But this is starting to deep cut. You're starting to go deep cut, and that's what Super 7 does. And so I do like that. I actually do like the deep cuts, the rare oddities, things you did not get with LJN, and that's where this stuff really comes in. Now, it's probably not going to sell super well. Most people are just like, I just want to get the main cats and that's it, or I just want to get the main cats, main mutants, and I don't care about the other ones. But something like this, that's just so cool. So we've got a whole bunch of hands, a little, I don't remember the significance of the little creature that's in here. Of course, some arrows, the quiver, the bow, the extra head. And a lot of people are saying she didn't smile much, so why is there a smiley face? Here's her package, and I'm not showing the package on all of them, but just showing it on this one. And kind of shows how small and slender of a figure she is and how that compares to the packaging. So there's a lot of extra stuff to make up the empty space. So that was Wave 7. Now, before we get into talking about some confirmation sort of for Waves 8 and 9, and they're already planning 10, we're looking at Mandora and her electrocharger, and so this is one of those things that I saw it in the show, but I didn't realize that there were that many people that really wanted this, and now I'm kind of getting excited for it because vehicles, there's not really a ton of vehicles in the Thundercats range. There's more than I thought, but less than any other toy line that's this size. So looking at it, this is a perfect idea, and it is $150. Very expensive for the size of the vehicle, but there's no other way to get it. And if you start looking at just collecting vintage ones, $150, some of those vehicles that are about this size, this scale, for vintage, go for about $150, and this is going to be made way better. Made way better. Those vehicles are very fragile, and there's a lot of breakpoints to it, and I anticipate this being made way better. But of course, the character herself, she looks pretty cool, and she's at the $55 price point. She's in production now, and we should be shipping pretty soon. We should see this one relatively soon. All right, so enough hee-hawing around there. We have official confirmation that these two figures are getting produced, but we don't know when. Probably Wave 8 and Wave 9. So, because they said they're planning 10, and 8 and 9 are already planned, or they've already got a lot of work done on them. They've already sculpted them out, and there's a lot to it, but they just haven't revealed them yet. So, the thing about these figures are that they were an exclusive back in the day, and I just checked BBTS when they had them in stock. They only charged $59 for the pair. That's $59 for two figures. So if you had bought the Mattel Matty Collector one, the SDCC exclusive from BBTS back in the day, like 2017 or whenever that was, then you got a heck of a deal. These are selling as a set for about $300 on eBay right now, but they're going to be $55 a piece minimum, and they're going to be sold separately. And I don't know which one's going to come first. I believe Cat will probably come first, and then Kit second. I think Kit is more popular for whatever reason. Anyway, again, I really don't know. But if you see what came with Mattel, there's a lot of stuff that came with them. They say there's going to be more stuff with the Super 7 release than even what came with Mattel and Matty Collector back in the day. So with all of that, that's kind of exciting, but you're still going to be out, 110 plus tax and all that kind of stuff. They've hinted at, but not really guaranteed, Ghost Jaga. But with clear Tigra, Ghost Jaga is obviously going to happen. And this is not their picture. This is a custom. There is a someone out there that was making clear customs that looked fantastic based off of the original LJN mold, and I never was able to get my hands on one of those because he stopped making them, or whoever was making them, he or she stopped making them before I started getting into collecting them. So I missed out on that whole opportunity. So I kind of do look forward to a clear Jaga from Super 7. So time for the Thundertank. Now this is something that is super ultra exciting. During a time that we're talking about Eternia being 550, we're talking about 354, a much smaller than this 1/12 scale car for Robbie Reyes and the Ghost Rider and all that kind of stuff. And so you're talking obscure. This is relatively obscure. Only about 2,000 of these are going to be made, according to Brian Flynn. But then again, who knows? And so the information passed along about the Thundertank and Thundertank project is that it's in production right now and should start shipping sometime in November, and they'll start sending multiple shipments out. So it's going to be just one shipment at a time. Multiple shipments will be going out of this large product through the middle of December and possibly the end of December. So what does that mean? Maybe another month or two till it actually arrives at the retailer. You ordered it and then you finally can get shipped to you at that point in time. So doesn't sound like it's going to hit by the end of the year, but some people might get theirs by the end of the year, but more than likely it's going to ship sometime in early of 2023. So that I'm excited for this. It's a $500 item. It looks fantastic. Here's how it kind of breaks apart into the part count and all that kind of stuff. And so it's huge. This thing is huge. And the first thing I did when I pre-ordered mine was find a spot for it. Where is this going to go? And one of the things that I did was utilize a vintage one for comparison. So it's technically about 4 times the size of a vintage one. It might be 3.75 times, not 4 times, but still, it is huge. But you know what? It's actually to scale. It's the way it should scale. And it will scale with your vintage LJN line. Also, it's what we should have gotten in LJN back in the day. But then again, toys had to be affordable, of course. I guess toys don't have to be affordable today. So, but this might be one of those real rare items, just like you can't really find a Snake Mountain from Super 7 right now. And once these Thundertanks sell through BBTS and those... So BBTS, it's a wonder that they're not charging a massive premium for this, because of the fact that you really can't get it from Super 7 anymore, because that's over. And so if once they run out, then all you have left is the secondary market. So, but I am super stoked and excited about this. So if you're in on it, now BBTS did require a $50 down payment for it. So you got to put $50 down on that to get it. And it's non-refundable. So if you back out at the last minute, then you lose your $50. But super excited for this. Should be coming soon. Now this is starting to get into speculation, but speculation with some backed up stuff from Brian Flynn. This Lunatax, they are on the list as could be done if they want to do them. So I'm thinking, okay, that sounds good. I don't know how deep that they would go with it, and I don't know how many people would truly be in on them, but I would. Also, they did say, or Brian said, that anything that's unreleased can get made. And so with that, we've got Quick Jaws and Cannon Blaster, which I have no idea who they are. No idea. But they could get made. And so this is the Berserkers. They already made Hammerhand, and so I would see them going for Cruncher, Ram Bam, and Top Spinner before they did the other two. But I kind of don't see them doing any of these at all. But Super 7 is probably the only way you'll ever get a Red Eye figure made, which I don't know who he is either. I just think it's kind of interesting, the unproduced stuff. Also a Mad Bubbler, that would be interesting. There's just so many more figures they could make, but there's only so many more figures that they could make. And then I really don't want to get into recoloring the same characters over and over. I think that there are far fewer people that want recolored characters. They want new characters, especially these unreleased ones. So anyway, what do you think about Thundercats, the future of Thundercats, and Super 7 and what they got going on? I actually think that they're doing a decent job with the line. There are some hiccups here and there. There's some QC, mostly with just paint, and a couple of items that were left out. Of course, they blame the factory. I don't really care at the end of the day. I like the way my shelves look, so I'm curious what you think about all of this and going forward. Like and subscribe. Tiberium Hanger out.
What's that? Who little limit up here. I am called Mongor.
You trick, Thundercats, but only a trick.
You're a fast learner, Lion-O. I think I'll speed things up.
Of course I am. Back off, will you? I don't need any help.